Da-da!
Showtime!
Da-da-da-da!
It's the Real and Raw Show with Lynn and
Brian.
Brian. Oh my goodness. Well, welcome to the show, and we'll be right back after this. We're going to talk about part 2, and Brian's got book recommendations. So stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. we try to be real and raw here, so you never know what's going to happen. You
I
just
was
never
ready to
know.
strum my air guitar.
Yeah, I just wrote that down. Part 2, book recommendations. There we go. What almost broke your ears or guitar? What?
No. I was ready to strum my own guitar just by
Oh,
the intro video.
I know, right? I think that's just enough to just get us so peppy. Like we get excited to do this show anyways, but
I would have been caught in the moment, and everybody's like, "What are you doing? What's going on here?"
the intro continues after the thing is gone.
Oh, we're alive. Oh,
You.
there's people watching.
Oh my goodness, Brian. I'll tell you what, being our show are shorter, I got to tell you that I just enjoy them so much more because it's like, we got to say a lot. We got to talk a lot. We got to do all this. And it's just next thing you know, 20 minutes are gone, just like
Right.
that. So,
Well, I think it also allows us to just allows us to not try to do more than what's necessary because people consume content in small amounts. They don't consume, if it's gonna stick with them or if they're gonna apply it, it's not consumed all at once. It's consumed little by little if it's gonna stick.
right.
Yeah.
So I know this week we're just kind of flowing with we got into book recommendations we figured that have helped us, and you did your homework and you made this great list, and with this great list that you made, I figured we have time just this week for your stuff, and maybe I can add a couple next week or
Yeah.
whatever, whatever. But let me put this up here and let's just start talking about it.
Sure. So, I mean, in no particular order, I just did my homework. And Lynn, feel free to chime in too, because this is not just one way. It's both our show here. But
Absolutely.
and obviously I didn't break it down in terms of what category or whatever, but you can go through here and break things down in terms of, obviously this is about personal development, but it could be sales, it could be marketing. But in my opinion, it's anything and everything that you can do to enrich your life. You know what I mean? Because it's personal, but it could also be professional. So, just starting off at the top, for anybody that knows me, Jeffrey Gitomer saved my life. I've met him several times. I've been to his office in Charlotte. And, when I was going through tragic moments in my life, his teachings and principles were there. And I've actually shared that with him in person. And so he's at the top of the list, like live events, all of his content. He's my guy in terms of just about how I created my life, So, but anything and everything about all the favorites, Earl Nightingale, Dale Carnegie, W. Clement Stone, any Napoleon Hill, any people that have had content. I mean, I know Samuel Smiles is coming out, Elmer Wheeler, there's all sorts of, the more sophisticated our society gets, the more that we uncover people that, hey, Darlene.
Hi, Darlene. Thanks for being here.
The more that our society evolves, the more we find the people that are influencers out there. And it's like, oh, I never knew that. Just kind of like a book recommendation, we all don't know what we don't know. And that's always going to be a fact. So
absolutely.
I mean, Dennis Waitley, Jim Rohn. I mean, good Lord. I mean, Jim Rohn. I mean, look at how many he's impacted. And I could only imagine like being like Darren Hardy or Jeffrey Gitomer in the front seat at the Jim Rohn weekends back when he used to do those before he passed away. I mean, imagine like a whole weekend where you could start off with on a Friday and by a Sunday, your entire world looks different.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously today, in the way our society works today, is like, okay, that would be a ticket that you wouldn't be able to afford, So next on, I mean, Jack Canfield. How can you not, one half of the chicken soup for the soul combo, Whoa.
I need another sip.
Lynn has got some extras going on over there. Go ahead.
No, no. Darlene says she's happy to catch us here on the road again, but I'm listening. So awesome. We're glad we're part of your trip there.
Yeah.
I'm working on us being podcasts too. So yeah. So I love that knowing that you can take us anywhere. As we got live stream soon, we'll have video or audio as well. So I'm
So
excited
I
about
mean,
that.
continuing to go down the list. I mean, because of one of our mentors, Ken Walls. I mean, Dr. Robert Anthony. He's written a couple books, but Positive Thinking. I mean, that was his number one. But he's got other books. I mean, other ones on here that are about personal development specifically are like Mark and Angel Chernoff. They're more life coaches, but just the way that they approach everything that they do, what they went through in their lives as a husband and wife team. They've got a couple books out there, but they say over and over again that the biggest battle you're ever going to contend with is the one of your own mind. And that can't get any more specific. And they keep repeating it in a lot of their teachings is just because it's our brain is always there, right?
Yeah.
We're always using it every day. It's one thing that we're never going to flee away from. Mel Robbins, the 5 second rule, the High Five Habit is her new book. And then I'm going to go back to these other ones on here, but at the bottom, obviously, the whole life of Steve Jobs, right? Walter Isaacson, who he embodied, who he was. I followed a lot of his principles and kind of lived my life out of him, not from a standpoint of who his demeanor was, but in terms of what he stood for and what he was willing to endure to get what he saw in life that nobody else saw. And other ones, obviously, Albert Einstein, you know, and then Nikola Tesla, right? Obviously, him and Thomas Edison were the pioneers of that time. But, you know, as time will progress, you know, everybody thinks about Edison in terms of 10,000 tries to get the light bulb to work properly. But a lot of his studies were done by Tesla. A lot. I mean, they go back and forth about history, about who was most important, who was most beneficial. And I think that they equally were, but I just think the underdog was Tesla, you know, and I've always rooted for the underdog in life. And before I get back to the other ones, and obviously like Lynn's book, Rex Seitz's book, Jerry and his wife Cheryl have written books, and anything you can get your hands on, regardless of like, oh, I'm not going to like that book. I mean, how many times have you heard it that, you know, about the title, you know? There's always something that you can take away no matter what it is. But if you're automatically going to put up the defense mechanism of like, I'm not going to get anything out of that, well, you've already made a decision that you won't.
You're right. You're right.
So,
And and I just want to say, oh, there's Mary.
Mary,
Hey, thank you for being here. She's such a beautiful person. I look forward to talking to her personally here soon.
happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday. But you know, Brian, I'm gonna end up putting this on our page, the Live Love Laugh
Sure.
Out Loud with Lynn, and probably my personal page, because there's so many good people on there. And you know, the thing is that everyone may have the same concept or gist or whatever. However, to say I want to see it through the lens of Brian or this author or that author, and also see how, you know, what I get excited about is I read an author's book and I'm like, I think they read a little Napoleon Hill. I think they got a little Brian here. I think here. And it's like, it's so cool because they infuse and then they say, this is how I see it. And this is how I see it. But I will say this, one common denominator that they all have is this. They want you to stop. Stop. Less than glorious moments. Break the insanity cycle. What's it going to take? That's why I sit here, be goofy, and do all these weird shows and elements and stuff, because if I can get on here, you can too. You don't need to be polished. You don't need to be anything but you. And you find the people that love to work with you and love to, you know, talk about the same topics and just to get you guys thinking and going. Because if you don't, you know, you don't need, like Rex Sykes says, you don't need much. You don't need massive action. You just need to be in action. And, you know, the tub gets filled drop by drop.
Right. Yep.
Everything gets done. I mean, hello, when you're prepping dinner in the kitchen, right? Do you say, oh, Lynn, it's going to be another 5 hours. I got to do the mashed potatoes first. I'm gonna, you know, make the steak here, and I'm gonna do this and this and that. And half your food is cold. What do you normally do? what you normally do is you make everything work at the same time. You make the
Correct.
different recipes so that everything is fresh, everything comes out at the same time. Same thing as some people will take 3 books and start reading a little bit from each book. It
Right.
doesn't matter as long as you're putting it all together to make a good recipe, like Glenn Morshower would say. You
Right.
missed a really good group last night with Glenn Morshower. He always brings it, and I told him, he's a friend and he's a mentor and somebody I just love, and we're just so blessed. When you're looking for answers, there's so many people there that. Oh, we got lots of comments here. I want to go to the comments really quick, if you don't
Sure.
mind, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. I mean, it's
You
all within your words, and it's
you
like
know,
the more disconnected you are with words that come out of your mouth, if you have somebody around you that holds you accountable, you could be saying things that you don't think you're saying, but it takes somebody else to be like,
Brian,
hey,
I gotta say this. I am super excited. Marissa says that she's my daughter's age, and I've known her since she was, in her teens. And to know that that generation, like my daughters and stuff, the wise ones that are coming up, it's so good to see that. So, Marissa, thank you for your feedback there. Very proud of you. And let's see. And then, hey, I got an honorable mention. Absolutely, not only honorable mention, but hello. Where's that banner? Where's that banner? Oh, that banner's got to go back up there.
yeah, there
There's
it is.
that banner. Absolutely. Absolutely. We love you, Jerry. I mean,
I
you're
mean,
fabric of our life.
and to be honest with you, Jerry, it's just like whenever I think of Scott McCain, I think of you because of your close ties and working with him and coaching and friendship and whatnot. So it's just like even that mind mapping where it's like when you start to go deep into teachings of people, it's hard to disconnect people that are, that you think of related to them. And so whatever way that the brain works to get to those associations is well worth it.
Yeah. Okay, so Mary says there's no go ahead, Brian.
Sure. So Mary says there are no original ideas really. We just have to find who resonates with us, just like you two huggable people.
Oh, I love you. And darling, you didn't miss a darn thing. And then what she say, Lynn, you're glowing, whatever you're doing differently, your spirit sparkling.
That's
You
awesome.
know, because Glenn reminds me of who I am, what I am, and we have all these things in us that we have forgotten when we were a child. Instead, we always think, oh, we had a shitty child life, and that's all we're stuck with. Instead, get rid of that. Just stop it. Like, just stop it and think of the good things. And it might take you a little while to feel through the feels of good or bad memories, but don't hold on to the good memories that you can use as resources.
Yeah.
And the fact is that when I look back, I mean, April 1st this year will be 25 years ago, is one of the times that I almost passed away, but I was hemorrhaging to death
Right.
for over 45 hours. And all I had to do was let go and say, everybody was scared looking at me. And all I had to do was hold on and say, I believe everything's going to be, I let go of whatever I thought was going to be outcome. And I just prayed and wished for the best and all that stuff. But you just, whatever you focus on, what comes about. And at that time, I wanted to see my kids grow. I wanted to be a grandma.
Yeah.
And 25 years later, it's like, wow. So, and Glenn talks about that. Don't focus on your age, because whatever you think about is going to be. And
Right.
so it just, I get really passionate to realize that we really made it difficult for ourselves when we didn't have to do that. You got a simple recipe to make an omelet and you add all this stuff, and then some of that stuff is bad. Well, you didn't need all that,
Right. Well,
keeping it simple.
and it's like one thing I want to point out because I know that our shows are shorter, but there's a few more things I want to mention. But it's like, think about your point of view, right? Consider that every single person, author, educator, somebody that you admire, somebody that you surround yourself with has a different point of view. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just that a slant of somebody else might resonate with you better than somebody else.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It doesn't mean it's not relevant. It's just that you heard it differently because every day you're not the same person.
And you just brought a great point to remember that, and even in Rex's NLP, you should really do things the opposite. You should use your left hand sometimes. You should try to write with your hand, to communicate to that other side of your brain and different things. I mean, look at the people that lose a limb or something. They have to compensate and learn something else.
Right.
So again, when you take, instead of reading the Think and Grow Rich from the same perspective, but you read somebody's overview or input, sometimes it takes that shift to do, because you're like, I read that damn book 50 times and I ain't seeing nothing. But if you read it or hear it from someone else, it's just like commercials. I hate to say it, but I know marketing and all that. They can tell you the same thing, but it takes repetitive hearing before it becomes natural, or you to be convinced that, okay, this must be great. I mean, it's just rewiring you. So if you rewire yourself by saying, I'm going to listen to this and get comprehension from all different angles, then you can say, oh, whoa, stop. What I like or what I got is this. And
Yeah.
all the time, your subconscious is going to say, I resonate with this part, not that part. And then that's where you get your own belief system.
Correct.
Don't take my opinion as gospel or word, or Brian's. No one's but your own. But what you're doing is just a comparison and keeping an eye on your own belief system to validate whatever you believe. Yeah.
Let's make it up words. Validate.
Yeah.
That'll be a Lynnism if we ever do a show about
here
that.
we
A
go.
Lynnism.
Yeah. I did one to Scott the other day, and I go, yeah, just leave it to Lynnism. He's like, huh? So yeah, it was pretty funny.
It'll be the Long Island version of
Yeah.
Lynnisms.
Or Spanglish or something,
Can you pop up that list, please, again?
Yeah, absolutely. I just gotta find it. Here we go.
So I want to finish off the list, but before I do that, to piggyback off of what Lynn just said, like let's say we look at Jeffrey Gitomer, who's the king of sales, and then we look at Larry Winget, right, who also teaches sales and life skills and all of that. Doesn't mean anybody's right or wrong. It's what resonates well with you.
You don't have Gary V on there either? Oh no, just kidding.
I'm not I'm not a big.
But I'm saying he's in that genre. I mean, he's in that
genre.
Space. I gotcha.
He's not my guy. But the whole point why I bring up Jeffrey and I bring up Larry is because they're in that space, but it doesn't mean anybody's right or wrong. It's just what resonates well with you, Right. And I mean, so look at these other people on here: Jocko Willink, Jason Redman, both retired Navy SEALs. I just find so much fulfillment in the discipline and just how they live their lives, and how that can carry over to civilian life and what we can take away with it in business or life. Doesn't mean that Jocko Willink's experience was better or worse than Jason Redman. No, they were different. They're different people. They might have been on different platoons, right? So I embody a lot of the military discipline and anything you can learn from somebody that was in the military, because it applies to life. And it's like they're dealing with life and death. Very little of what we deal with on a regular basis is life or death, moment by moment, So the other people on here is obviously Scott McCain, Jeb Blunt, Larry Levine, Mark Hunter, who are predominantly in the sales space. And then you've got, and here's another one where, Scott McCain plays a lot into, customer experience and distinction. Well, so does Dan Gingiss, Shep Hyken, Joey Coleman. Are they all very good at what they do? 100%. It's just a matter of who resonates well with you, right? There's a lot of overlap in their content, but they call it different things, and it's perfectly allowed. When we look at Craig Duswald and we look at Larry Winget, when they talk about lifestyle and discipline and all of that, it's self-expression comes to mind, because there's no right and wrong. It's just a matter of who they are as people, and also their backgrounds and like telling it like it is. I mean, that really resonates well with me, where there's no fluff. It's very in your face. It's very much like, what are you going to do? And Mary says, yes, Brian, point of view, I have to change lenses to get different types of photos. We change our minds lenses at will, 100%. Monty Python is on my list.
I love it. Love it.
Love it. And so the final people are like Clancy Clark and, another sales guy, but he comes at it from a serving place, from a spiritual place. So there is no right and wrong here. It's just a matter of what resonates well with you. But also, though, don't limit that, I'm not going to learn anything from that person, because as we've already said, well, you're already counting out that that person can offer you anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Look up the video for Bright Side of Life clip. Okay.
We'll
Good.
do that. Well, thank you. Gosh, she's just becoming so resourceful, and she gives value to us when she watches, and I appreciate and love her. I appreciate everybody that watches us in our silliness and our goofiness and who we are. And it's we just love what we do here. So
What are
um
what are your final thoughts about what we talked about? Because I want to hear Lynn's book recommendations, maybe in a future episode or whatever.
yeah.
But what'd you get out of today? What are your
Well,
takeaways from today?
my takeaways, and of course, I got like Sykes up there on the top
Mm-hmm.
there, and I've got, and I think I resonate with Glenn and Rex because I grew up with a theater background, and it
Mm-hmm.
just all makes sense and the analogies and things like that. But um, my takeaway today is the fact that just never stop growing, never stop learning, never stop finding who you are and the best of who you are,
Right.
and make sure that what you're doing is you're like tweaking the recipe of who you want to be to you first and then to the world. If you
Yep.
don't have your cup full, you can't you can't spill it out to anybody else. So what's important is to give yourself grace, to love yourself where you're at, to know your past is in their past, and whoever stays in the past, like the Bible said, they told her not to look back, and she turned into salt. All I got to say is that you're not living in the past, you're living right now, and you just bring what you want. And if people really have a problem with your past or bringing up your past, the problem is it's telling you right there, don't react to them, because they're in the past and you're going forward. And
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to back up, know your boundaries, and to know that you matter. And what I being being a peace officer in New York, I still gotta say, anything you say can will be held against you. And I will say, shut your mouth. Don't say nothing you're gonna regret, because you're gonna be no better than the person that said or activated you. So don't react, don't act. Just know that it's those mince words are not worth going there. You
Mm-hmm.
want a peace of mind, you want to make a peace in the world, just be peaceful. Give sunshine, give love and blessing, because guess what? If you give love and blessing and kindness, that's going to come back tenfold, and it's going to
Yeah.
be humbling, because you're doing it with a good intentions in mind. You're
Right.
not doing it for anything else but to not add to the deficit. We
Mm-hmm.
all have issues, we all have problems, and just do this for a peace of mind for yourself, because we can't keep playing the same old damn record players. After you play the records for a while, guess what happens? They skip. They're broken. They don't work. That's why that's why we got MP3. That's why we got all these audios, all sorts of stuff. Things do change. So thank you, Shorty. That's what I used to call him, 8th grade. I was friends with his sister, so Shorty. So
Shorty.
yeah, Shorty. I'm sorry, I had a trigger from my back. It wasn't Sunny to me, he was Shorty. So
I was like,
just
wait a minute, that's not his
yeah.
name. Or his
No,
her name.
no. Yeah, that's his name, Shorty. But again, you take the good and take and build on the good, people. Let go of the madness. I mean, like, seriously, just stop it. Stop it. You know? And it's funny because I did that, and I was like, I think, I don't know, you can't see it. No, I had my daughter taught me on my iWatch how I can press it in 3 seconds. So I was like, let's see what I can do in 3 seconds. And I was gonna delete it. I said, no, this could be good for something. See, and I knew it would. Anyways, we have gone to almost a half an hour here. Brian, I just missed this. I mean, maybe we'll have to do some more little things more sooner and whatnot.
Yeah.
But anyhow, your final last words, my friend.
Yeah, my final last words is just get started, right? You're never going to get started if it becomes overwhelming or if you feel like you're going to miss something. I learned a long time ago, because I would nearly like I don't know, take it out on my health when I felt like in a deficit position where it's like I had to learn everything I possibly could. And it's like the realization kicked in is that you're never going to be able to learn everything that there is ever to know. It's just not going to happen. And so just get started, one page at a time, one article at a time. And number two, define your path, whatever that path is. My path is very clear about where I'm headed in the world and what I'm doing in business. and I shared this with my mastermind, I shared this with several people. The only four things of areas of discipline that I'm working on and that really are gravitating me to where I'm at in business are differentiation, distinction, value, and customer experience. That's it. If you don't define where your path is through the course of time, life will just show up and you'll go wherever it may take you. Do you want to have control of that or not? And it's entirely your choice.
I love it. I love it. All right, you guys, we are going to be out of here. And again, we hope you have a good weekend. And we'll see you next Friday.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Thank,
We love you. See you
thank
next
you.
week.
We love you. Bye.